Hi, this is Kelly. Welcome to my channel. Something witchy this way comes. I have 3 new DIYs for you today. DIY number 1, by the pricking of my thumb. So here we have a thrifted frame. And of course I took the glass and everything out. And I'm going to paint the entire thing with my folk art rich black chalk paint. And I got this paper here at Hobby Lobby. It's really pretty cool. You paint it, it looks kind of like leather. So I'm going to decoupage it right to the cardboard that came with the frame, because it fits right in there. So we might as well roll with that. And then we paint it with our black chalk paint. And it really is a nice look. It's also giving me another idea too. I have a little bit of this paper left, so you'll see that in another video here soon, I hope. So now what I've done, I've got some amber colored glitter and some gloss Mod Podge. I used my blue painter's tape to mask it off. There is an area on the inside that goes right up around the glass. That's kind of a rounded shape, a little different from the rest of the frame. And we are going to take that gloss Mod Podge. You want to use gloss with glitter so it doesn't tamp down the sheen of the glitter. And I'm going to paint that on there, and while that's wet, I'm going to pull that tape off. And I'm going to take my glitter and shake it over that glue. And tap off the excess. And I'm going to do one section of the frame at a time. I'm going to do the same thing here. And I make sure the tape that's on top is the one you pull off first. You want to make sure you pull them off in the right order. You don't want to try to pull them off at once. So here's what it looks like. And we're going to let that dry for quite a while. I think I let it dry overnight. Now here's my little sign. By the pricking of my thumb, something wicked this way comes. And I don't want to use Mod Podge over this black because it'll just melt into it and be too dark. So I used just a regular glue stick. And we're going to position that over top of this black leathery looking paper on the cardboard here. And we're going to let that dry, and we're going to take the gloss Mod Podge again, and we are going to paint a coat over top of that glitter. That'll stop it from falling off, and it keeps its shine if you use the gloss. And I just go over the edges, and just a very small amount in the center, but I want to pick up, blacken those white edges, of course, and just kind of pick up some of those wrinkles. And my picture, I designed it in Canva, and there's a shadow of a witch in the background, but it got a little too dark. I don't know if you can see her or not. It's hard to see it in person, much less on the video. I should have done it a little darker. And we put it back together, and it's all done. DIY number 2, Sassy Witch at your service. This is just a little tray I got thrifting, and the paint on it was a little heavy, so I sanded it down so it would be smooth. And here's my Sassy Witch. Very cool. This is an Etsy paper that I will link in the description. I think it's just so cute. The shoes just tickle me. It is so cute. And we're of course going to tear it out. We're only going to tear off what we have to get that white edge off, because it pretty much, we need the whole thing to fill up the tray. And we're just going to carefully tear it out. Gotta have those torn edges. And we're just going to lay down some serious Mod Podge on the bottom of this thing and put our pretty witch right in the center. Don't even have her upper half, just have her legs and her skirt and her shoes. I just love it. That's why I call her Sassy. She's got it going on. Press that down. Make sure we don't have any air trapped under there. Now it goes from side to side. It fills out the space better than the top and bottom, but we're going to decorate the top and bottom here in a little bit. But first we're going to take our black chalk paint, and we're going to distress our edges, get rid of the white edges. And it doesn't take much. I do a little across the, of course the edges, and I do a little bit across the background where it's a little bit bright. And just blend it. Yeah, it's gotten a little darker there, see? And just keep doing it. And you do as much or as little as you like. You don't have to. I like a heavy distress usually. It depends on the image, obviously, but you do it as much as you like. Oh, I just love it. I just love this. I got these as a lady on Facebook. I don't think she's on YouTube. I couldn't find her. That does some really amazing crafts and has this Etsy shop where she designs these papers. It's she's amazing. So I got this lace at Walmart, I believe. It was in the sewing section. And this lace here came from Amazon. I will have my link in there. And remember, I am an Amazon associate now, so if you purchase something through one of my links, I may get a small commission, but it doesn't cost you any more than it would on a regular purchase. It just supports my channel. So I've already cut these to fit, and on the bottom I'm just going to put this crocheted lace, and that's Aleene's tacky glue. And I just painted it on with my paintbrush, and we just put that in, tack that in place, so to speak. So now we've got this fancy lace. I've been dying to use that lace. Finally get to use it on something. And I thought this would be really cute because it would kind of add some dimension to her skirt, and it would hide the gap. I have the big gap on the top and the bottom, and a difference in the finish between the Mod Podge and where there's no Mod Podge. So I just thought that would really just kind of bring it out a little bit. Dress up her skirt. Sassy witch. Oh, she's just too cute. So now we're going to make a little bow. And again, this is from that same, I think that's the same lace. Yes, that's the same lace I glued to the bottom. That off-white came from Hobby Lobby. And the chiffon ribbon, all that came from Amazon. I'll have that link as well. And I'm sure you've seen me do this before. Look, I remember to put the twine on the bottom first. Put your twine on the bottom. It makes your life easier. And we're just going to crisscross. We're going to start with the black chiffon. Crisscrossing my little homemade bow maker here. And there's no wires in this, of course, so you want to make sure your loops are pretty small. You don't want them just to flop over. And once we stack a few on top of each other, it does, you know, it'll make it sturdier where it's not too floppy, but yeah, you gotta keep the loops kind of small. So we get the black on there. We're just gonna do one on each side, just a little bow there. We're gonna trim off the excess, then take our off-white, do the exact same thing. Let's crisscross and trim that off. And then we've got the kind of pink color chiffon ribbon already down, and then this burnt orange color. I'm a sucker for the chiffon ribbon. I just, the little frayed edges, it's really nice. And you can distress it, and you can dye it. I had some bright orange I dyed to look like that burnt orange. And then finally I bought some burnt orange, but the dyed lace, or excuse me, the dyed ribbon looked really pretty, really pretty. And then we're going to put the black crochet ribbon on top, and we grab our twine, kind of pull it towards the back as best as we can, get a hold of it real good so we can lift it out of here without it falling apart on us. And then we're going to immediately turn it over and tie a knot. And then don't tie it too tight. Don't tie your second knot yet. Make sure you've got it centered before you cinch it down, and then we cinch it really tight. And then we're going to fluff a little bit. We're going to pull everything apart from each other because we want to see a little bit of all the ribbons. And we're just going to hot glue it up to that top corner. So I want to thank you guys again. I did get fully monetized, and I'm an Amazon associate. Thank you so much for all your support. Everybody's been so wonderful. Your comments have been so sweet. This has been so much fun. And Kimberly, your Your Ouija board is in the mail. It went out this morning, so hopefully it'll only take a few days to get to you. So we're just going to fluff it a little more, and this one's done. I just love the sassy witch. It's the shoes. I can't get over the shoes. DIY number 3, the Broomstick Bulletin. That's the name of my little newspaper here. I got this vintage witch newspaper on Etsy, and I just thought it was really cool. And look, a lot of dragons. I know I keep promising they're coming. I swear to God, they're coming. And we've just torn these into manageable size pieces. And these are Dollar Tree carvable pumpkins. And we're going to lay that in the Mod Podge, and then we're going to take our brush and make sure we push it down in the grooves of the pumpkin. Add more where you need it. And I added some, I used some lightweight spackle and kind of softened that break. You see the seam in it there? It was pretty crooked. So I thought, well, I'll add a little bit. And then you can just put that on there and smooth it with your fingers. And just so it's not crazy noticeable, you'll be fine. And we're just going to add our next piece. There's like all these castles and symbols and like little headlines, and this is really cute. And I do 2 of these pumpkins. This one is a more of a stained, a little bit darker stained paper, and the other one I use a little bit lighter, just so they're a little bit different. And they're 2 different Dollar Tree pumpkins, so the pumpkins aren't exactly the same. But that doesn't matter. They're so close, it doesn't matter. You know, you can get 2 totally different pumpkins, or just do one. Because this does take some time, and you only want to do so much at a sitting, because if it's wet and you're holding it in the wrong place, your fingers can stick to it. You can pull it off. It can tear off the top layer of paper. If it's like half dry, sometimes you think it's dry and you're holding it, and your finger sticks in it. It's happened to me. And then it pulls the top layer off, and you're like, really? So now here I've gotten a ways and let it dry. And I think it was late in the evening. It's a lot of times I'm late in the evening doing these things. So I think it was kind of late, so I just let it dry overnight. And then the next day I just continue on. And just make sure you have a dry spot where you can hold it that you know is absolutely dry. And you just do a little at a time, so that it's not time consuming as far as sitting here doing it. It's time consuming waiting for it to dry. But I thought it was worth it. These came out really cool. So here's the other pumpkin, and we're going to put this castle right here on top. And this is just regular printer paper, and it's dark enough where you can't see the orange or the black through it. And basically we just keep on adding Mod Podge and adding the torn out pieces of paper. So they're both all done and they've dried. They're really cool. And you see the one on the right, so it's a little bit lighter. Not a whole lot, but it's a little bit different. And I've got these pumpkin stems. I made them with black air dry clay, and they look like witches' hats, which is awesome. And I'm going to show you how to make one of those stems in just a minute. Now that in my hand was wooden skewers. You can use those if you don't have a pretty stick. You can go get a stick out of your yard. I just had this little curvy stick in my stash from 100 years ago. I thought that would be cute for the handle for these little brooms I'm making here. And I just take my raffia, and it comes looped pretty much, and I just grabbed a section that was kind of small. I put that stick in there and put it almost all the way in, and we're going to tie a knot around there. This is going to make sense in a minute. Trim off the excess twine. And then we're going to start pushing all that raffia back in the other direction. And make sure you hold on to it on the other end. And once you slip it around, you can add a little glue in there first if you like. But once you know, as long as you hold on to it once you get it done. So we're going to flip it over, and then we're going to tie another piece of twine on here. Eventually, this twine is thin, but it was very stiff. This is sisal twine. Use something a little like the Dollar Tree jute works well for something like this. And we're going to trim all the excess, and we're just going to kind of chop at it. We want different lengths. We don't want it perfect. We don't want it perfect and neat. It's a witch's broom, right? So we're just going to tie that in a knot once, and then we're going to twist that around. We're going to twist each one around one or two times, however many times you like, and twist them around till you're on the back side again. Just give it a few layers of the twine going around it. And we're going to tie that nice and tight. We're going to double knot that. And we're going to add a little hot glue before I made the knot but didn't tighten it. We're going to add a little hot glue on that second knot. Just give it a little more support. Cut off the excess. And you have a little witch's broom. Now I did go back later and take a little antique wax and just kind of distressed the raffia a little bit, aged it a little bit. You can see there's my, I made, they're so cute. And there's my little pumpkin stems that look like witch hats. I like how this turned out. This is pretty cool. So you just take your clay and you knead it in your fingers for a couple minutes, and then I just roll it up in a tube shape, flatten the bottom, and you want to mold it on top of your pumpkin so you get that shape, so it'll glue down. It'll glue down nice. Won't be rocking back and forth. And once we create the base of the stem, we just start slowly twisting it. And all those twisting, it looks like a natural stem, or in this case, a witch's hat. And we just keep on twisting it. And then once it gets tall enough, we can bend it, and then, and we just keep on and keep it on, and then you just twist and pinch the end off where it's too long. Now this one isn't as pretty as the two that I end up using, but I'm just showing you how to do it. It's not hard to do, but it may take you a couple tries, and if it doesn't turn out, mash it back into a ball and start over. It usually takes me 2 or 3 times till it's the way I like it. And then you just form it to the pumpkin, and then you don't leave it to dry on the pumpkin, because it can, the moisture from the clay can reactivate the glue and bubble up your decoupaged paper there. And I'm still fussing with it, but anyway, it's kind of chubby. It didn't come out that great, but that gives you an idea. So back to the ones I'd already made before. We're just going to hot glue those to the top. But yeah, I thought I'm going to make little brooms, because the stems, it's a witch newspaper, and the stems look like witches' hats. I'm like, let's make little teeny witch brooms. That would be cute. Glue the other one on. And I didn't want to surround the entire stem with Spanish moss. I didn't want to hide it, so I chose where I wanted the front to be and glued the stem accordingly. And then I'm putting the Spanish moss to the one side and around the back. And I put the natural color on this pumpkin, and I use the black Spanish moss on the other pumpkin. And yeah, especially that black, that'll hide that entire stem if you put it all the way around. So I said, well, why can't I just put it halfway around, right? And this is Alien's Tacky Glue again. If you're using a big handful of moss, hot glue is fine. But if it's kind of sparse, the tacky glue works very well, and you don't have to worry about it burning you or having all these strings stuck in all your moss. It can make a mess in your moss. Believe me, I've had to throw handfuls of it in the trash, and Spanish moss is not cheap. So yeah, you ruin a handful of it, it really tick you off. So I'm just going to glue the broomstick to the stem, and then it rests on top of the pumpkin. So unless somebody's playing football with it, it's not going to go anywhere. So, and I got my little critters. The spider, he's got, I don't know if you can see it, there's a little nub on the bottom of him. And I'm going to get a little hot glue. I'm trying to show you, it's not working too well. And just a little bit of hot glue on that. And I'm going to put it right over top where the glue is holding the broom in place. And that'll cover up any little bit of glue that might show. And then we're going to do the same with the other one. And these little witchy pumpkins are complete. Too cute. Love the vintage newspapers. And here's my final reveal. I tried to do a video of the reveal here, but the glare was so bad. It's still bad. You can see the shape of my shirt in the pictures. That was the best I could do. And here's my little pumpkins and my sassy witch. Thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate it. If you've already subscribed, thank you. If not, please consider doing so. We have a good time over here, and I love doing this, and I just want to continue. So help me out. Share this video. Thanks again. See you next time. Bye.